marriage is often seen as a personal choice, a decision made between two people who wish to share their lives out of love and mutual respect. Yet, for many, marriage has not always been about love but about duty, family pressure, and tradition. In the story of Emma and Daniel, this reality comes to life in a simple but deeply emotional way. Their marriage does not begin with affection or excitement. Instead, it begins with expectation. Emma agrees to marry because her family believes it is the right step for her future, and she feels the heavy weight of their wishes. Daniel, on the other hand, accepts the arrangement for similar reasons. Neither of them speaks from the heart. They simply step into a life that was decided more by outside forces than by their own desires. The idea of a marriage without choice brings a unique kind of sadness. Both Emma and Daniel are not enemies, nor do they dislike one another. But the absence of choice means the absence of deep emotional commitment from the start. Emma is a young woman full of dreams, someone who longs for companionship that reflects her passions and her need to be seen. Yet when she stands beside Daniel, she cannot find that spark. Her agreement to marry is less about her own heart and more about fulfilling what others expect of her. For Daniel, the story is much the same. He does not oppose the union, but neither does he step into it with joy. Instead, he sees it as a duty, a step in life that must be taken regardless of what the heart says. This creates a situation where two lives are bound together but without the foundation of personal choice or affection. The very beginning of their marriage shows how powerful social and family pressures can be. In many cultures, marriage has been treated as a duty rather than an act of love, and people like Emma and Daniel become caught between tradition and the national human desire for true connection. The emotional weight of such marriages is heavy, because even though they fulfill obligations, they leave the heart empty. When marriage begins without choice, it robs people of the freedom to express themselves fully. Emma does not enter her new home with joy, and Daniel does not look at her with admiration. Instead, both carry silence, unsure of how to bridge the gap between them. They follow the routines of daily life, eating meals together, sharing the same space, yet feeling as though they remain strangers. The lack of choice at the beginning leaves them without a strong foundation to build upon. What they have is duty, not devotion. What makes this even more emotional is that both Emma and Daniel are not at fault. They are victims of circumstance, pulled into a union because others believed it was right for them. This is the true sadness of a marriage without choice. Two people who might have been happy, if allowed to follow their hearts, now live in quiet disappointment. They do not fight openly, nor do they show hatred, but their silence speaks volumes. It is the silence of two people who have not been allowed to truly choose one another. At the same time, the story shows the tension between individual desires and collective expectations. Families often believe they know what is best, and society often measures success by whether someone marries rather than whether they are happy. For Emma and Daniel, this means they are bound together by something that is socially accepted but emotionally hollow. Their story highlights how damaging it can be when personal choice is ignored in matters as deep and personal as marriage. Ultimately, the lack of choice at the beginning of Emma and Daniel's marriage sets the stage for the loneliness and distance that follows. Love is not something that can simply be placed into a marriage by force. Without choice, there is no spark, no natural connection, only the structure of duty. The story makes us reflect on the importance of allowing people to choose love for themselves. For when marriage begins without choice, it may fulfill obligations, but it rarely fulfills the heart. Loneliness is often thought of as the absence of people, but in truth, it is the absence of connection. There is perhaps no greater loneliness than the kind experienced when someone is physically beside you but emotionally distant. In the story of Emma and Daniel, this feeling is at the heart of their marriage. They share the same home, eat at the same table, and live under the same roof, yet they do not share themselves. Their marriage, formed without love or choice, becomes a quiet reminder of how being together without connection can make the soul feel emptier than being alone. At the beginning of their married life, both Emma and Daniel go through the motions of what a husband and wife are supposed to do. They respect each other's presence, they remain polite, and they avoid conflict. But politeness is not the same as closeness. Their conversations are short and formal, often about routine matters like food, chores, or responsibilities. Rarely do they speak about their dreams, their fears, or the feelings that live deep inside them. In this silence, a void begins to grow. Each day that passes without true communication adds to the invisible wall between them. Emma feels this void most sharply. As a woman full of dreams and emotions, she longs for companionship that touches her heart. She wants to laugh with her partner, to share the music she plays on her guitar, and to feel like her presence means something more than duty. Yet, when she looks at Daniel, she sees a man who is kind but distant, someone who fulfills his role but does not step closer to her soul. She begins to feel unseen, as though she exists in the same space but not in the same life. The loneliness she feels is not about being abandoned but about being unnoticed. Daniel too feels the emptiness, though in his own way. For him, marriage has become routine, something he performs because it is expected of him. He works, he returns home, he eats, and he rests. But the warmth that should greet him in a marriage, yet the joy of a loving partner, the comfort of being truly known, is missing. He glances at Emma and sees a woman who could have been his companion, but the absence of love at the start keeps him from bridging the distance. Slowly, he begins to retreat into silence, convincing himself that this is simply the life he must live. His loneliness is quieter, more resigned, but it weighs on him all the same. The sadness of their situation lies in the fact that they are not alone. Each evening they sit across from each other at dinner, yet the silence between them feels louder than any empty room. This is the essence of loneliness within togetherness, the paradox of being close in body but far in spirit. For Emma, the silence is a constant reminder of what she longs for but cannot have. For Daniel, it is a reminder of what he cannot give. Together, they create a picture of two parallel lives, side by side but never touching. This point in the story also reflects a universal truth about human relationships. Companionship cannot be created by proximity alone. Living under the same roof does not guarantee closeness if the heart is not involved. What nourishes a marriage, or any bond, is the willingness to share oneself, to open up, and to build trust. Without these, a relationship becomes a shell solid on the outside but hollow within. Emma and Daniel's marriage shows how painful that hollow shell can be. The emotional weight of loneliness within togetherness is heavy because it erodes hope. At first, Emma may believe that things will change, that love may grow over time. Daniel too may think that closeness will develop naturally. But as days turn into months, the silence deepens, and hope begins to fade. The realization that they may spend their lives as strangers bound by duty makes their situation even more heartbreaking. Ultimately, their story teaches that emotional connection is the lifeblood of marriage. Without love, even the presence of another person can feel like isolation. Emma and Daniel's life together becomes proof that loneliness is not about being alone but about living without the warmth of a shared heart. Their quiet, distant existence underlines the importance of love and intimacy, reminding us that togetherness without connection is the loneliest place of all. The story of Emma and Daniel shines a light on one of the deepest truths about human nature, the universal need for love. No matter who we are, where we come from, or what circumstances shape our lives, every person carries within them a longing to be cared for, valued, and understood. Marriage without love may satisfy tradition or duty, but it does not fulfill this essential human need. Emma and Daniel both experience this emptiness in different ways, and through their quiet struggles, the story reveals why affection and emotional connection are vital for true happiness. Emma enters her marriage with hope buried beneath her disappointment. Though the union was not her choice, she secretly dreams that love might grow with time. She looks for small signs of warmth in Daniel's gestures, perhaps a smile that lingers, a conversation that goes beyond routine, or even a moment of shared laughter. But day after day, the absence of affection becomes more noticeable. Emma begins to realize that she is living with someone who does not see her in the way a partner should. Her heart, so eager to give and receive love, feels trapped in silence. For Emma, the pain is not only about lacking love but about feeling invisible in a role where she longs to be cherished. Daniel, on the other hand, embodies another side of the universal need for love. He is not unkind, nor is he careless, but he has grown accustomed to treating marriage as an obligation rather than a bond of the heart. Yet even he cannot escape the quiet ache of his unfulfilled need. Though he may not admit it openly, he feels the absence of warmth when he comes home. He notices Emma's silence, her distant eyes, and the way she moves through the house as if carrying a weight. Something in him knows that marriage should be more than this, but he does not know how to bridge the gap. His loneliness comes not from neglect but from never having built the intimacy that love demands. Their shared emptiness underscores the truth that love is not a luxury but a necessity. Human beings can survive with food, water, and shelter, but to truly live, they need affection and connection. It is love that gives meaning to relationships, transforming them from arrangements into sources of joy and strength. Without it, even the most stable partnership feels incomplete. Emma and Daniel's marriage might appear solid from the outside, yet they are together, fulfilling their role but inside it is fragile, hollow, and quietly painful. The story also suggests that without love, the human spirit begins to wither. Emma becomes quieter, her once bright spirit dimmed by the lack of warmth. She may continue to play her guitar, but the songs no longer carry the same joy because there is no one to share them with. Daniel becomes more withdrawn, convincing himself that duty is enough, even as his heart longs for something deeper. Both of them continue to function, but their lives feel heavy, weighed down by the absence of the very thing that could give them meaning. This universal need for love goes beyond Emma and Daniel. It reflects the condition of countless others who live in marriages, friendships, or families where affection is missing. The story reminds us that love is not about grand gestures or perfection, it is about being seen, being valued, and being accepted as we are. Without it, life feels cold, no matter how secure or stable it may appear. In Emma and Daniel's situation, the lack of love becomes a silent teacher. It shows that affection cannot be replaced by duty, that emotional connection cannot be built through obligation alone. Their quiet suffering is not just personal but universal, speaking to everyone who has ever felt unseen in a relationship. It is a call to remember that love is as necessary as breath, and without it, even the closest bonds lose their meaning. Through their story, we understand that the universal need for love is what makes us human. It is what brings warmth to our homes, joy to our days, and hope to our hearts. Emma and Daniel may not have chosen each other for love, but their longing for it reveals that no matter the circumstance, the heart will always seek what it cannot live without. The story of Emma and Daniel does not only portray sadness and emptiness, it also leaves room for the idea of possibility. Even in a marriage without love, there remains the chance that something can change, that feelings can grow, or that individuals can come to understand what they truly deserve. This point highlights the uncertain path that such unions may take. Some loveless marriages transform into meaningful partnerships over time, while others serve as lessons that life should not be spent in emotional emptiness. Emma and Daniel's story embodies this tension between endurance and transformation. At first, their marriage seems defined by silence and distance. They go through daily routines without warmth, and both carry the quiet weight of longing. Yet within this emptiness lies a seed of possibility. Emma's heart, though hurt, still holds hope. She believes that love, though absent at the beginning, may grow if nurtured with patience and understanding. Her desire to connect with Daniel keeps her from giving up completely. She tries in small ways, sharing her music, offering gentle words, or showing kindness in moments where silence has become the habit. Each of these efforts carries within it the possibility of change. Daniel, though reserved, is not incapable of affection. His distance is not cruelty but uncertainty. In his quiet moments, he recognizes that their marriage could be more than duty. He sees Emma's sadness, and perhaps deep down he feels his own responsibility for it. This awareness can become the starting point for change. If he chooses to step beyond formality and show genuine care, the distance between them could shrink. In this sense, the story allows the possibility that love can grow where it was once absent. Many real marriages that began without love eventually became strong through companionship, mutual respect, and gradual affection. Emma and Daniel's journey could take this hopeful path. At the same time, the story does not ignore the other possibility, that the emptiness might never be filled. Love cannot always be forced, and waiting for it in silence can lead to wasted years. Emma's longing may transform from hope into frustration, and Daniel's withdrawal may deepen into permanent indifference. If their efforts to connect remain unanswered, the truth becomes clearer: they deserve more than a life without emotional fulfillment. This realization, though painful, is also powerful. It opens the door to growth, self-discovery, and the courage to seek something better. This dual possibility makes the story relatable and real. In life, some relationships bloom unexpectedly over time, while others reveal the necessity of moving on. Emma and Daniel stand at this crossroads, embodying both hope and warning. Their experience shows that marriages without love are not fixed in one shape. They can evolve, for better or worse, depending on the choices each person makes. The possibility of change or growth is what keeps the story alive, reminding us that nothing is truly final until individuals decide how they will respond. On a broader level, this point also teaches an important lesson about human resilience. People often endure difficult circumstances with the belief that tomorrow may bring something better. Hope is what keeps Emma from giving up, and awareness is what might push Daniel toward change. Whether or not their love story transforms, the fact that possibility exists gives them the chance to either create love together or find the strength to pursue a life where love is present. In the end, the story leaves us with a truth that is both hopeful and sobering. Love may grow in unexpected places, even in a marriage that began without it, but if it does not, then the courage to acknowledge that absence is just as valuable. Emma and Daniel's journey is not just about enduring a loveless bond but about recognizing the power of possibility and the possibility to change, to grow, or to choose a different path where true affection can finally be found.